Find us on Facebook, email us at head2headpinball@gmail.com, or go to our website at head2headpinball.com. Welcome everybody to the Head2Head Pinball Podcast. This is episode 67 and my name's Martin, and with me
it's Ryan C. And Marty, I'm very excited today because in the past we have had special guests on that were very good at playing pinball, so good that they were previously ranked number one in the world. Such personalities like Zach Sharp, no longer number one, sorry. Keith Alwyn, sorry, no longer number one. Zach Sharp, I think it's because he had a kid. Keith Alwyn, everyone knows that he's a hussy and he's a bit of a village bicycle, he gets around, right? Raymond Davidson, on the other hand, nice. Number one in the world now, and he's still number one. And so it is currently October the 28th, 2018, the world's best pinball player right now, Raymond Davidson. How you going, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good, man. Don't have kids. That's what I'm trying to get to you. Don't have kids.
Yeah.
And you will keep your number one spot.
Pretty much the secret sauce there. So can I ask a question? I know we're going to go through a lot of news as well. How do you become number one?
You go to a lot of tournaments, and you place reasonably high at most of them, and you win a couple of them.
Do you spend more money than you earn, or is the money you make more than your travel and hotel expenses?
I'd say most trips I break even or aim to break even, and then maybe one a year or so I'll hit it big, win a machine or get second at Pinburg or something. That's a nice bonus that puts me ahead for the year. But it's usually just you break even.
But so pinball's not at the stage now where you can earn a living or anything off it, right?
No, I don't even think Keith Elwyn could make a living off of it, and okay. He wins everything.
You're number one, and I think it was a few months ago that happened. But you've been playing for a long time. And the reason why I sort of asked how do you become number one, because it's actually the question that a lot of people ask me. It's probably the number one question I get asked is, how do I become a better player? And some people have actually asked, how do you become as good as the greats? So what's your journey? How long ago did you start playing pinball, and how long ago did you start playing competitive pinball, and how did you get to be so good?
Well, I think it really just came from a source of passion. It was like I got introduced to it pretty young, when I was 5. My grandparents had a machine, and my dad kind of taught me the ropes. But then anytime we would go to a restaurant, there'd be a pinball machine, and I started learning that you could win free games. And I was like, oh, cool, I'm going to play the pinball machine because I can play it for, a long time. And then as you start playing machines, you have to start diving deep and being like, oh, how do I actually get the replay score? Because it's it's one thing to play pinball to keep the ball alive, and then there's another thing to play for getting certain points and doing certain objectives. And just the replay score was basically my primary motivating factor of learning, okay, what actually gets me the millions? How do I actually get these points? And so I would just play often. Whenever I found a place, there was a go-karting place that I would ride my bike to, and they had a Terminator 2. And I'd ride my bike there several times a week and just do an hour or two, seeing how long I could last on $1. And let me tell you, Terminator 2, that game will force you to learn pinball. You can't just get replays by flipping around on that game. You have to learn the rules, and they have to execute. And, I think it was just games like that. I just kept reading online, rule sheets. I just really loved it. And so I just kept diving deeper and deeper and playing more and more, finding out local leagues, other tournaments.
I'm looking at your IFBA profile here, and unless I'm reading it wrong, 4 years into tournament play, you had only won 2 tournaments. Is that accurate? You won, 1 year in, you won the Seattle Pinball League, and then kind of 4 years later, you won the Nice and Naughty Pinball Tourney.
Yeah, I didn't really win stuff so much as, like I said, I just went to a lot of things, and I did, better and better over time. But keep in mind, 4 or 5 years ago, there was the 25-point base Whopper value. So you could just farm Whoppers if you just knew what to go to. and you did, halfway decent, every event was worth something basically. And I was just going to everything near me and, placing pretty high. Like you said, I didn't actually get first in anything, and you don't really need to get first in stuff to move up in the ranks. You really only need to get first if you want to make that, top 20, top 10.
Okay. Yeah, we pretty much here. We need to, because of the points are so much lower here, we need to pretty much, as I said last week, win or nothing really for a lot of players.
Yeah, it's definitely changed a lot. For better or for worse, I'm not sure.
Okay, so for those who don't know, like your worldwide ranking depends on your best 20 tournaments in the last 3 years, I believe. So for me to get a tournament to be included, because I haven't been playing that long, I need one whopper, right? That's all it takes. For Marty, I think it's about 4 or 5. Raymond, I'm looking at your profile, and you need 35 whoppers, I think it is. So
you have one of your tournaments, they might not even help my ranking.
Yeah, so I mean, what does that do to your desire to play tournament and competitive pinball? Do you drop out of the local tournament scene and just go to the big ones, or do you still?
Yeah, I probably do that a little more than I like, because I do like playing pinball locally, but it's just, with all the traffic and commuting and, real life, it's like, it's so much, it's a lot, asking a lot on a weeknight to go play in a tournament that starts at like 9 p.m., just to have fun or whatnot. So yeah, it does actually affect me a little bit.
Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like you said just to have fun. So if it was fun plus whoppers, right? Like this mystical thing that somehow improves your ranking. Is that the kicker then to say, okay, well, I'll deal with the traffic and I'll start a tournament at 9 p.m. because this will help me stay number one in the world?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds so silly when you repeat it like that, but there is something there, it's hard to explain. It's just really good, really cool to watch yourself, track your progress, and it just means something.
Yeah. No, I mean, the reason why I'm saying it as well is that I had a little gathering last night at my house, and like none of the tournament people came because it was just playing pinball, but all of the non-tournament playing people, they rocked up because they just want to have fun playing pinball. But unless you say, okay, there's also a tournament running and the boppers are available, the tournament people just don't like it has to be pinball plus the competitive spirit, right?
Yeah, I think part of it though is competitive players like myself. We just go to a lot of pinball tournaments just normally. So doing another pinball thing, it doesn't have quite the appeal as maybe a casual or someone just getting into pinball who, hasn't been to a lot of tournaments and they don't really know. They're like, oh, pinball, like this looks like fun. I'm going to go play in this because I don't do it very often. But for, people like me, I literally fly like 6 times a year doing this, so taking a night to do it more doesn't really make as much sense.
Sure.
So another thing I like to ask, major players as well is how they would describe their play style or what they're known for. And I described your play style probably about, I reckon, 4 or 5 months ago. And I'm keen to hear how you would describe what you're known for with your, whether it's recovery, whether it's shot accuracy, whether it's rule knowledge.
I'd say I'm pretty good at accuracy and adjusting. Like I'll rarely miss a shot early twice in a row. Like I dial in on shots pretty fast, and then I'm also just, I guess, with the accuracy, I'm very efficient with I need to get this many points. I'm going to execute this. So I guess rules knowledge. Although I don't go into as much crazy detail as like some of the people in the hobby who just know everything, every little corner of Stern Wars, and that and Game of Thrones and that sort of thing. I guess I just sort of, I kind of have a combination approach where I do what I need to do, and sometimes I do it in interesting ways. Like I'm not always trapping, but I'm not always on the fly. You know what I mean? It's kind of like I adjust. I guess I'm very adaptive.
What you said before that you usually don't miss a shot twice in a row because you can adjust, and that's something that I absolutely struggle with. Because do you make the conscious decision that, okay, I missed that shot, and this is the part of the flipper that I flip, so I know that I have to delay my hand hitting the flipper button by an extra how many milliseconds to hit that shot? Or does it just now come naturally to you that it's like second nature?
It depends. If I'm just getting on a new game, I'll definitely make mental notes of, whoa, these shots are way earlier, these are really late, so that I remember going into my next ball, like, okay, remember what happened last time, don't do that again. But then, like, as you're playing, eventually you sort of just get in the flow and you don't have to consciously remember them because your timing, muscle memory just sort of figures it out for you.
Do you find that playing games at home that you then have to play in a competition, so say you have a Metallica at home, do you think that might hinder your success in playing that machine elsewhere, or is that just part of the adjustment as well? Like, can you adjust from the games you have at home, or is that harder?
Yeah, I mean, I've played enough pinball to realize that it's not going to be the same as my one at home, so I just don't even picture me playing the one at home. I picture it as just a new game, just any other game. The advantage of having one at home is I know the rules, and I know maybe a couple of things to try. Like, I own a Metallica, so I know you can usually backhand the grave marker, you can usually drop catch out of the snake, that sort of thing. But I still approach every game as having to. The first thing I do when I get on a game is figure out, like, are the shots early? Are they late? How bouncy are the rubbers? How is the feed out of the right orbit, that sort of thing.
Okay.
Would you prefer, like, I know in some of the tournaments you get your 30 seconds of play beforehand. Would you feel that there might be an advantage to you not having that because you can adjust on the fly so quickly? Or would you still prefer to have that practice period?
I think as a mental aspect, I prefer to have it so that I can just learn a couple of quick things about the game. But yeah, I don't think it has actual, like, any results. Like, I don't think I do better in tournaments with that practice than I do without that practice.
Well, certainly one thing I've noticed is one of the things when I described you before, I said you're a bit of an all-rounder, but you're very calm until you're not calm, meaning that you'll sort of do your slight nudging, but then you'll nudge that thing as far as it can go sideways. And so therefore I would imagine you understanding where that tilt bob is in that 30 seconds is really important to you.
Yeah, that's kind of something I've been working on. Is I don't play every ball like it's ball 3. Like, I definitely play ball 3 differently than the first two balls. Like, on balls 1 and 2, I just sort of, like, assume that, like, hitting shots and I'm just playing the game sort of offensively. But then a lot of times on ball 3, I switch to, like, oh, I need to get ready to nudge this. Like, I can't let this drain. Like, this is my tournament life. And I think I need to use that more on the first two balls. I'd probably have higher scores.
Some people that you watch, you'll see that they're sort of going the long game. With you, what I've sort of noticed is that you've still got. It looks like you've still got the long game in your mind, but you are chipping away at a I guess probably a shorter game just to rack up some points to at least put you in contention.
I think I pride myself in always trying to give myself an out. So I will always try to put, even if it's just like a tiny bit ahead of someone else, that I prioritize that just to give myself that out that they can, have a house ball. And I have slid through a lot of tournaments on very thin margins because of those outs. And I think that's a very important thing for people getting into competition to learn, is you don't always have to hit the home run, you can chip away, like you said.
Okay. So then, are you playing the machine, or are you playing against the other player?
Oh, I'm definitely playing against the other players. Against Escher on Iron Maiden at Expo, he put up 1.9 billion, and I had like 200 million going into ball 3. And normally I would play Iron Maiden, just start some modes, get some points, do whatever. But in that situation, I was like, okay, well, in order for me to get that many points, I don't think I'm going to have a ball as long as Escher's. So I'm going to see if I can cyborg and just grind cyborg like for a 10x jackpot. And I almost did. I got up to like 8x and I got like 1.4 billion. It was pretty cool.
Okay, so me and Marty have been talking about it recently on the podcast about long playing tournament games. do you like those epic long battles, even though they might result in a loss on Iron Maiden, or do you prefer games to kind of be set up? Because I know the Expo games weren't set up kind of brutal. They were fairly factory besides extra balls. So would you prefer for it to be harder and it's more of a quick, like, get in, get out, let's see who's the best at this brutal machine? Or would you rather it be factory? And I'm not sure how long did that game last for. Was it like a half an hour game or 40 minutes?
Yeah, it took forever. I guess I'm pretty indifferent. I think it was cool. I've never played in a tournament like Expo where the games were set up factory. Like, that was so refreshing. I had never seen that. Like, I got to basically regularly put up, 400 or 500 million on Guardians. Like, it was nothing, like that sort of thing. It was definitely a cool experience. But I don't know if I would definitely tire of it if every tournament was a slog like that. But I think now and then having some epic games is great for the sport, because it really, you start making a lot of decisions you normally wouldn't make. It's kind of like the difference between unlimited qualifying and, like a match play qualifying. You definitely get to see different aspects of the game when you're playing for huge scores than just trying to survive.
Well, so then what is your favorite tournament format?
Definitely the old Papa, or even unlimited entry is fine. Generally, the qualifying part, I'm fine with whatever. I'd rather have lots of tries at it, though, so I don't feel pressured as much. And the finals, I really like the finals where, there's lots of games, like 3 or 4 games, and you get to pick the games, and they're like, I don't like games that are too brutal in finals. Like a lot of these new tournaments, the finals have like EMs thrown in and like really brutal solid states, and they won't let you pick the same game more than once. So you're just kind of forced to just, you work this whole weekend getting your qualifying position, and then it's like, oh, I get to play on this thing and lose, and like that kind of is a bummer. So I like the formats that really reward, good play, and lots of games, basically. I don't know.
Do you enjoy the format where when it's finals? Because I know of a lot of the high level ones. It's I think like even the IFPA World Championship. It's head to head. It's not 4-player groups. Do you feel like that you could kind of accidentally get stuck with someone who maybe had a bad day of qualifying, but he might be a really strong player, and then you have to head to head battle with him or her, and potentially get knocked out early?
I don't know if I like head-to-head for that exact reason, because it unless it's double elim, I think double elim is fine, but single elim is brutal if you get a bad draw. Luckily, though, I think they do a good job of giving you lots of buys. So if you focus on the qualifying aspect and you get like a double buy, it's like, well, the worst I can do is 8th place. Like that's great. Like I don't really care at that point. So as long as the tournament structure is set up smartly and it's not, 3 games qualifying top 64 bracket, like, just complete chaos. Like.
Yeah. Well, so then the Pro Circuit final, which I think is now the Stern Pro Circuit. I mean, that's an interesting one because, the higher you qualify, the later on the ladder that you start, but everybody else is warmed up. That can be a bit of a disadvantage, don't you think?
Yeah, definitely. My hardest part in a tournament is those first games, for sure. So it is nice to come in and kind of get to play some warm-up games and kind of figure out the games as you're going. But it's risky, right? Because if you bomb out, you wish you would have rather had the buys.
Well, that's exactly right. Well, then, so, you sort of talked about EMs before. What type of machine do you prefer to play on in finals, or is it situational? Because I guess it can probably also depend on the group that you've got or the person you're playing. But is there an overarching style? Like, is it late Stearns? Is it middle Bally Williams? What is it for you that you like?
I mean, I like EMs and solid states in classics tournaments. I think they're great. I love classics tournaments. But in like big main events, I definitely like 1990s and onward. You could convince me of some of the later 81s that like I don't know what year like Grand Lizard is, or some of those ones, the more controllable like late solid states. Those are fine.
Sure, but I guess the idea of having, and Pinburg was like that, where you had an EM, a solid state, a DMD, and then a modern, was really to test your all-round skill on all areas, I guess.
Well, it's also because there aren't that many modern games, right? Like, they've pretty much got every modern game in there, but they need 300 plus machines, right? So they kind of force.
And that one's fine because you know what you're signing up for, and it's a variety. Like you said, you have to be well-rounded. There's 4 game rounds, and a lot of it comes out in the wash. It was more like things that bug me are where you kind of get forced, like at the Stern Pro circuit, they had a bunch of. Even the DMDs are set up brutal, but like I was in group 9, so I always got stuck with like the crappy games, and like it just felt bad.
Okay. Well, Raymond, I mean, I know people are sitting here saying, oh my gosh, they said they're going to talk about the Beatles. We want to hear about the Beatles, but let's keep on going a little bit more because, guys, it's not that important. It's the Beatles. You've won a WWE LE. Is it twice or once?
Twice, I think, isn't it?
Well, I only ever actually won it once. They wanted to give it to me like 3 times, but the first time I was able to convince them to give me a Ghostbusters, and then the second time I was able to convince them to give me a Guardians, but then the third time they were like, all right, you're getting a WWE LE.
And you never took possession of it, right?
Yeah, it never came to my state. It went straight from the Stern factory to Oklahoma or somewhere.
Poor WWE gets such a bad rap.
Just on that, Ryan. So, Raymond, why did you not want WrestleMania?
Because I wanted an Iron Maiden.
No, I
That's the reason. The next day, as soon as the funds cleared, I sent the check to Trent and bought my Iron Maiden.
From the number one player in the world, I'm keen to know what you either like or dislike about WrestleMania.
Well, I just don't like, there's like no shots on the game. There's like 2 ramps, and that's like it. And I don't know, it just doesn't.
There's drop targets.
Yeah, I guess so.
There's that little loopy thing down the sides for tag team.
Yeah. I don't know, the ring up the middle
is what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your collection, you've got Aerosmith, Black Rose, Dialed In, Dirty Harry, Guardians, Iron Maiden, Lord of the Rings, Metallica, Meteor, Pioneer, Tron, Volley, and Walking Dead. So you have, not many people have Guardians and Metallica together. We've had lengthy discussions about the game being very different, but still has kind of the same feel because of the shot layout. Do you currently prefer one over the other? I'm guessing you've played Metallica to death, right?
I used to think Metallica, like, I think I still like Metallica more overall, but I think right now I've been enjoying playing Guardians more than Metallica. It just shoots better. Metallica is pretty clunky, and like a lot of shots are pretty tight. Guardians, they're tight, but they're I don't know, they're more findable for some reason and less punishing. I think Metallica, when you miss a shot, it's just like gone. But Guardians, you're kind of playing the long game more. Like I don't know, it feels safer, and it's just the rules are way different than any other game right now in Guardians, and I find it really interesting to kind of figure out what the best strategy is because I'm still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, I find that Guardians, the ramps in particular, they feel really satisfying when you get them, but they don't feel as conventional as a lot of other Stern games. It almost feels like, particularly the left ramp is a lot earlier than I would expect on, any sort of left ramp in
really?
Stern.
I feel the complete opposite. I always think it's way later. Maybe the flipper angles you have set up are different.
I love how Marty says nah to the number one player in the world. He's like, nah, I'm right. It's too early.
I always miss that ramp early. I usually have to tell myself it's late. Wait. Okay, now shoot. I don't know. It also does that weird double back thing, right? It feels funny when you hit it.
All right, so Raymond, there's a lot of things that people do in games, and every once in a while, a top tournament player will tell me, like, you're wasting your time. Like, you're playing Fathom wrong. You do this, and you hit that, and that's the game. Like, that's where the big points are. So, I'm sure there's a million others I don't know. So how do you blow up some of these games, right? So what's the perfect scenario? And we don't have to go into like a long 30-minute discussion on each game. Just on Aerosmith, what's your go-to song and what stack are you trying to get?
Aerosmith, if the old code, the Same Old Song and Dance was always a good one to start on because it'd give you some nice base points. Like I said, to give you those outs against people who don't get anything started. I haven't played as much with the new code. I think they changed some of that. I usually just pick, I guess I like Walk This Way and try to get super ramps because that can be good. Yeah. Or just pick any mode that has the toy box as its first shot is usually a good strategy.
Okay. Dialed In.
That one's pretty straightforward. You just play the modes and beat the modes. Although there's a couple of things like oftentimes, especially if I'm on a really hard playing Dialed In, if I beat my first mode and I have multi-ball lit, I won't cancel it. Like I won't bring another mode into it because it's too risky. I just want to start the multi-ball as soon as possible because I want to get that SIM card, bouncing around and land in there.
Well, surely you have modes that you prefer. Like I always chose the meteor modes, whatever it's called, because it's just hitting targets, which is risky. But I feel like I can do that. I can brick shots.
Yeah, Meteor's not a bad choice. It's only like 5 shots. And sometimes off of those targets, it goes into the SIM card hole, which is nice.
Yeah.
I usually go with like Whirlwind is one of my favorites. Alien Invasion is hard, but it's worth the most. So if you need like a ton of points, you can do Alien Invasion.
Wait till Big Bang for that one.
Yeah. The Big Bang on that's a good combo is starting Alien Invasion and then Big Banging. It's like 250k or something ridiculous.
I'm always confused with Big Bang. Does Big Bang hit all of the shots that are currently available on the player field, or does it finish the mode by going through? Like, if Big Bang was lit at the start of Alien Invasion, do you want to hit that first shot first and then the Big Bang target, or you just hit the Big Bang target straight away?
You just hit it right away. It's I don't know. They've got some crazy math and crazy coding behind that game because it will literally pretend that you hit every single shot, including the first one for Alien Invasion. It basically just acts as if you hit every shot yourself.
Okay, so there's no point in waiting until a certain point in the mode.
The only difference is if you have SIM card multipliers and you want to get some multiplied shots first, you can hit a couple of shots, and then once you're like running out of time, then you can Big Bang to finish it. And the later shots won't be multiplied, but your earlier shots will.
Okay. So Big Bang doesn't give you finish all the shots with a multiplied value, just with just the base value.
I think that's correct. It also doesn't multiply the completion bonus. Yeah.
Maths. Okay. Now, Deadpool. Deadpool's a newer game. Jeff Teolis was talking to me about how you know this secret sauce recipe to blowing up that game in Megalodon or something with the boom button. Is that right?
Oh, I had literally just found out about it at Expo. Kaylee was telling me what to do, and I think Tim Sexton. It was just basically you light Megalodon, you start Megalodon, you just never end the mode, and eventually all the shots become worth like 10 million, and then like you can use a big boom and collect all the 10 millions, or you can just hit them one by one. Like there's no, there's no timer on that mode. You just have to make sure you don't accidentally end it.
Okay, so how do you end? So there's an end shot, but the other shots will just keep on being lit forever.
Yep.
Okay. I mean, that's probably going to be patched out in like 2 weeks, right?
I assume. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else? Like Lord of the Rings, everyone knows how to play that. Metallica, Meteor, everyone knows how to play that. Tron gets a lot of hate because everyone says there's just one way to play it, but on a high, I mean, you're playing it at home, so obviously you try and blow up the game. Are you kind of making sure that you replay certain modes before you finish all of them to make sure you get that 50 million bonus or whatever it is?
Go for it. I love getting the double portal. One time at League, I had this ridiculous game where I got 2 double portals in the same game, and it was so sweet. Like, and it wouldn't have never happened if I didn't, actively like, oh, my Zeus targets, I need that last Zeus target, just that's purely for fun. I don't know if you do that in a real competition.
Do you have the Pro at home or the LE?
I just have a Pro.
Okay, so do you ever go for the gem shot through the right flipper, or are you always banking the shot?
Oh, I just use the upper flipper. I mean, it's hard, but it's doable. You just have to find it. It's you have to get a nice bounce off of the Cora shot. Like, you kind of have to hit the ball while it's off of the rail a little bit. Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain, but it is hit.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. If it's perfectly gliding along there, then there's a less of an angle than if it's kind of hit off the Cora, bouncing. Yeah, I know what you mean.
So with Tron, like I've seen some videos of people like, what is it, end of line when you do the combos and then into the scoop? Is that something that you would try, or are you still going into multi-balls to get up to CFCN or Portal?
I mean, it all sort of works together hand in hand, right? Because you need to hit the side ramp to light your multi-ball, and when you hit the side ramp, it lights the scoop for end of line. So you just kind of, the game's pretty face up. It's like, oh, you hit this, and then you hit this. I mean, some people will like just keep going end of line and ignore multi-ball, but it will light Cora eventually. So if you're good at Cora shots, you could basically ignore the light cycle shots and just do end of lines. But some Trons are a lot easier than others. Like my Tron at home, the Cora shot's really hard, but then I'll find one on location or in a tournament, and I find it easy, and I'm like, wow, okay, I know what I'm doing on this. I'm just going to do this all day.
Do you know why it's probably hard? It's the U target is probably drifted to the right.
Yep.
Yeah. You can 3D print a little thing to fix that. I can send you the file if you want.
So the reason why I asked that is because I've watched a lot of you on sort of YouTube and Twitch, etc. But I also watched you playing live the first time I went to Indisc, and it was on Doctor Who. And a lot of people were playing it a certain way. They were either going for multi-ball, but I just saw you doing, I think it was Who loops over and over.
Yep. Well, I don't remember playing. Was that like a tiebreaker against Bob Matthews, or
no? Was that in qualifying?
It was in qualifying.
It was qualifying. So it was first day. So it was early on. You're going to forget that one, but you did put up a fantastic score. In fact, I think you were doing a combination of that and video mode. You were getting right into video mode as well. But the reason why I was saying that is, and you mentioned it before about being efficient. You are the king of the repeatable shot, where if you know that there is a safe but repeatable shot, you will do that rather than go for the risky strat.
Yeah, it just depends on the efficiency and also how likely I am to hit the shot and what happens when I miss the shot. Theoretically, you could loop the right ramp on Walking Dead all day, but you're not going to, because it's it's hard. It's dangerous if you miss, and it's hard to hit. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Walking Dead, because that's the one that has. I mean, maybe for the high level players, there's just one strategy, but it just seems like there's just a million ways you can go with that game. So, I mean, what mode do you usually choose first? And I know it depends on who you're playing against and what score you need to put up, etc. But if you're playing at home and you just want to blow it up, are you playing Barn first?
Yeah, I always play Barn first, just because it's a good single ball mode, and it will get you your multi kill pretty easily. It'll get you some good points on the board, and then also people don't know this, but in Walking Dead, after you play a mode, that shot is now worth a mode bonus in any other modes you play, where it will actually boost whatever mode you're in. So if you play Barn first and then you play Riot, every shot to the left orbit will increase your Riot value by 500k and give you like a 500k bonus. It's called past mode bonus or something. It's like a hidden thing Lyman put in there. It's pretty useful.
I need to read some rule sheets, because I didn't know
it's
that.
Why your modes suddenly just start becoming worth like way more later. Like the more modes you do, the more they're worth, because all your other mode shots are basically adding to it.
Can you please explain CDC to me, because I don't understand that mode. I know it should be so simple, but it's just, I remember one time I played it and I got 120 million in that mode, and it was just I hit the main shot, and then somehow like the shot kept on roving and I hit the entire play field. But I was like playing it yesterday, and it's just like the two shots next to it were lit, and I didn't know how to expand the shot to like the arena shot. Yeah, so you only get
one chance basically. When you start CDC, every shot to the ramp will add another roving shot. Or it's not roving, but it'll add another shot.
Okay.
And basically, you just keep hitting the ramp, and then as soon as you hit one of those non-CDC shots, it basically locks it in, and you move on to phase 2, where you just collect all the shots that you have lit. And then once you shoot the CDC ramp again, that will end phase 2 and move to phase 3, which is it lights the CDC ramp for collecting all the points that you just got. So it's really nice with the multiplier on the in lane, because what you'll do is you'll start the mode, then you'll hit some shots, and then you'll hit the CDC ramp, which lights the CDC ramp for the collect and also goes down the right in lane. So you just get like a massive 200 million shot or whatever.
I mean, you've obviously got a pro, because I've got a premium, and sometimes Bicycle Girl will just start in that mode, and that just kind of ruins the mojo of that lighting the X, because you then have to shuts the lane or somehow get it in there to X the shot.
The premium has its pros and cons. You can definitely farm the Bicycle Girl shot if it has a nice return, so you can still get a huge CDC score during the build phase 1, where you just keep hitting Bicycle Girl, and then you'll build up your value that way. I will go on record as saying I think the Pro is better, even though everyone seems to think the Premium is better. And it's for the simple fact of I don't like the crossbow, I don't like the magnet on the well walker, and I don't like the CDC ramp. And all three of those don't make up for the walker bombs, even though people tell me that it does. And I don't know.
I've got both, so I can't be offended. I can't be offended. But yeah, it's. I mean, what versions of Guardians do you have? Guardians, there aren't much differences either, right? But you got the Pro for that?
The Pro. It was funny at Expo. They had the Premium, but they sawed off the Groot. The Groot hands were gone.
So you can see that left insert, which you can never see.
Yeah.
Batman 66. Do you like playing Batman 66?
I think I like playing it because it has smooth shots, and it's a controllable game where you can put up big scores when you need to. I don't fully understand all of the rules yet. It's sort of like a Star Wars enigma to me, where I generally do good when I play it, but I generally don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just sort of keep hitting things, building up big points.
We do ask, the big players, what is it about Batman 66 that makes it this special game? And we're not kind of getting that from you.
Yeah, no, like I said, I don't investigate as much with the new games because they're just always changing, and I'm very lazy. I don't like to put in any more effort than I need to. So it's like I don't want to learn something if it's only going to change again. So I usually just brush up. Like if I'm about to play a game, I'll ask somebody what's the latest on this game, and they'll either tell me this, do this, and I'll try to do that, or I'll just do what I usually know works. And on Batman 66, I usually just do Catwoman, just shoot the ramps because they're fun to hit and
safe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so with your collection, is there, obviously you've got a favorite game, but is there a least favorite game that you have, but you're like, okay, well, this might be next on the chopping block. I'm done with this game.
Probably the EM volley. It's just way too simple. But I got it for so cheap that it's just sort of like I just got it. I'll probably get rid of it as soon as someone wants to buy it. It's just, it's good to have an EM, but that one is just way too simple. It gets old fast.
Okay, well then going back to what you meant, you mentioned Star Wars before. What are your thoughts overall on Star Wars? It's been out for a while now. What are your thoughts?
I'm telling you, it's just way too. It's an enigma. It's like there's a general roadmap of destroy the Death Star, TIE Fighter, whatever. But then your actual score is completely unrelated. It's like, did you hit this shot while you had 40x or while you had 2x? So, I mean, I usually do pretty well on it, but I'm always scared to play it because it's almost like I don't feel in control of what my score is going to be as much as other games.
Yeah, well, that's what we found is that people that can master the multiplier can consistently put up good scores. I'm one of these ones that will just set it on a particular location and go, you know what, I'll just keep going for that same shot. But do you find that as well, that in the tournaments that you play where it's in, that those people that understand it will genuinely do better than others? Oh yeah,
I know a few people that just always blow that game up, and I've gotten better at it, and I'll definitely move my multiplier more than maybe other people would, and I'll also I feel like once I start learning the shots, I feel like I can execute better than some people that know the rules inside and out. So like if I get presented with something obvious like, oh, I need to shoot this to destroy the Death Star, I can probably pull it off. But it's those situations where I don't know what's going on and someone else does. Like I just learned about the Add-A-Ball with the force targets. You know, I learned that the hard way when somebody used that against me, and I was like, okay, well, I'm making a note of that.
You just learned that? Okay. Well, I guess I only learned about that a while ago because someone told me when they did it. But I'd love to see Star Wars, as ridiculous of a game it is, like mass-wise, just being streamed at a high level in like some finals, just purely for entertainment purposes. Like you versus someone like Josh Sharp, who swears by not moving it, and Steve Bowden told me last week, why are you moving the multiplier? Just 4 people going at it at a high level, and someone trying to commentate. You know, because I mean the weird thing to me is that with these games with crazy multipliers, it's the same fanfare. I know sometimes when you're streaming pinball, you don't get that that full sound kind of coming through, but like if you hit a 40x jackpot, it's the same sound as
I think
when you hit it at 1x.
What drives me the most crazy about Star Wars is I won't know how good I'm doing until I look up and see my score. And sometimes it'll be 1 billion, and sometimes it'll be 200 million, and you have no idea.
Another one like that is Ghostbusters, where as I said, triple super jackpot. I mean, is worth 3 million, but sometimes it's worth just insane amounts, and it's just like, well, I get the same call out, so when do I get excited? And it ends up being, I guess for the new player, they're always excited, but for me, I'm never excited because I never trust the pinball machine to let me know when to get excited.
Yeah,
right?
I think that definitely is something that they need to really work on. I think that's what part of the magic of the Williams 90 era was they had that down. You know, when you got a jackpot on Addams Family, everyone knew it, and your score went up accordingly.
Well, that's another thing I wanted to touch on. It's like the newer games, especially Stern, and maybe it's a really good thing for people that are new into pinball. Like, you work hard, you get into multi-ball. Generally, pretty much in every game, like, everything's a jackpot, and then you work for your super. So even if you flail and you hit one shot in that 20-second ball save, you're going to get a jackpot. Whereas I watched someone play Addams Family yesterday, and I'm sitting there for 3 games telling him how to get into multi-ball, and then I'm like, shoot the side ramp, and they're like, oh, there's an upper flipper? Like, how the F am I going to shoot that side ramp? You know what I mean? But it's like, well, they have to earn that jackpot, and that jackpot is special because, 1, it's hard, and 2, nothing else is lit except for those 2 side ramp shots, right?
Yep.
Side shots.
Do you know the thing that shits me the most? I'm just telling you now. The thing that shits me the most, big points. When it's not big fucking points, it's actually bullshit points, is what they should say. Like,
no, Aerosmith gives you big points.
Me, well, does it? Not that. It's not that great.
Is it 15 million ratings?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a lot. On Aerosmith, there's a lot. On Ghostbusters, I think it's 1 or 2 or 3 or something.
It's just like. But it goes back to what you're saying. Like, this is inverse. Like, it's the big voice. It says, big points. You look up and it's 1 million points. You go, hang on, that's actually in the scheme of things not big points. And it's like skill shots these days. This is why it was kind of cool with Iron Maiden that at least Keith made the super skill shot worth something because you were getting more of a ball save, because they're not worth the points warranted for a skill shot, right?
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to design games for everyone. I mean, I remember George Gomez in that interview he did on Special End Lit was talking about designing Revenge from Mars, and he's like, he made the flipper gap smaller, but he's like, I don't like games that kind of like the Shadow. He didn't say the Shadow, but that return the ball directly to the flipper because the novice player can lose the ball too quickly. I like a game that sends it up into the pops and will give some random action and then it returns because, the psychology of your player thinks that they're playing well because their ball lasted longer, even though they haven't done anything to deserve, that 10-second ball time. Yeah. But it's a psychological thing, right? Like, you don't get ripped off because, you lasted longer.
Yeah, that makes sense. And people always full plunge.
That's right. But that's why it was kind of, I don't think they've done it since. But when was it Ghostbusters that started it, or maybe it was Game of Thrones, where the pop bumpers had that random award? That was kind of an interesting way to make something that really was just a time extender kind of meaning something. And that's kind of why I look at the skills shot and I say, well, that could actually mean something, but it's not. It's just a way for the ball to go up there and waste some time in the pops.
Well, because there's no skill. Every person, if they know of the rule, can light an in lane up the top. If you can move it around, plunging off the skill, like you can't move it like Creature, for example, and TNA. Yes, there's skill involved with that. The orbit all the way around, that's another one, right?
Deadpool's done that now. So Deadpool's done that now. It's got a fixed in lane that you can't move.
Yes, I've heard that Deadpool likes TNA very much.
Yeah, you have to be careful though. If you make skill shots worth too much, then it can dwarf someone's actual performance. Like I lost to somebody who got 3 skill shots on Ripley's, believe it or not. Like it kind of feels bad. But
was it Domino's? Yeah. That the Domino's skill shot was worth $1 million, and it's like impossible to get $1 million like through normal play.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, game balancing is hard, right? Like whirlwinds. Like the only way to score massive in whirlwind is to hit jackpots in multi-ball, right? Like
Oh yeah. That is the most frustrating feeling, is draining out a multi-ball in whirlwind. Oftentimes I'll just turn off the game and just
But you don't have one at home, so you're turning off games on location and just restarting them.
So quickly, Raymond, then, because another game that's in your collection, and I've heard you say this when you were commentating, Black Rose. You said there's actually more to this game than people give credit. Explain to me why, because I'm one of these people. I actually really like the game, but I don't think it's a deep game. But you sort of said that there's more depth to it than people think.
Oh yeah, it goes deep in a lot of directions. Like the Broadside Awards. If you get all of them, you can light a jackpot, which in tournament play is 30 million. So like going after Broadside Awards is a decent strategy. With the cannon, you actually want when you open the cannon and put it in there, you actually don't want to just shoot up the middle. You actually want to bank off of as many targets as you can, because every target you bank off of gives you a sink ship ladder. So a lot of people don't realize that, and also they don't realize that there's different levels of the cannon, and when it'll actually have flashing jewels and non-flashing jewels, and you actually have to shoot the flashing ones to get the award. So the first award is double broadside, which is worth like a ton of points, and everyone is familiar with that award. But then after that, it goes video mode, and the video mode, you have to either shoot the left side or up the broadside with the cannon. Like a lot of people don't know, you can just shoot the left. Like if you have multi-ball lit, you can just shoot it in there with the cannon. That's a nice little thing. And then after video mode, there's like 5 million award, Jets at Max, which Jets at Max is actually good in that game because it makes the right orbit worth $1 million a shot for the rest of the ball, which not a lot of people know. The multi-ball has 2-ball and 3-ball multi-ball, and it has hidden treasure. And hidden treasure is really cool. You basically have to hit all the little jewels around the playfield, and when you get all of them, then they all become lit, and it plays the little Pirates theme, and it goes to your bonus. And it's just a really fun mode. You can stack up lots of sink ship letters, sink ships for huge points. I don't know, and the shots just feel good. Like the left ramp to locker ramp combo, it just feels good.
Is it better than? Would you rather play Black Rose than Stern Pirates of the Caribbean?
Yeah. I think so.
Would you rather play Black Rose than JGP Pirates of the Caribbean?
I don't know. I haven't played any much of JJP Pirates, but probably.
So you really love Black Rose?
Yeah, I really do. I think it's a good game, but I'm also biased because it was my first game. So I will admit the biased, but I think people should just give it more of a look than they initially do.
Well, it's still I guess the cheapest Bally Williams game in Australia. I think you can pick up from the the 90s era. I don't think there's any games that are cheaper than it, but they're all pretty expensive here.
Well, there you go. Good bang for your buck. I'd say get one.
Okay, AC/DC. So I'm not sure when we're going to get you on the show again, Raymond. So we're just going to me and Marty just gather all this game knowledge. Because ACDC has changed.
Number one in Australia soon.
Yes. ACDC has now changed, right? A lot of strategies that people were relying on have changed, I think, during the last code update. So I don't want to know what you were doing before, but what's your go-to now for ACDC?
Jam all day. The jackpots
what
in Jam
song?
are actually,
What song are you choosing?
I usually like Rock and Roll Train or even a whole lot of Rosie I'll do sometimes, just because of if I'm in multi-ball, going up to the top and hitting the rollovers is good. Hell's Bells is still okay to pick sometimes.
So Rock and Roll Train will only award you if you hit a shot in a combo, but you can't combo the same shot. You can't hit like backhand left ramp. So is your jam?
Right,
is your jam strategy to go left right?
And that's definitely what I try to do. If I'm having trouble hitting the right ramp, then I'll probably change it up and just do backhand left ramp and pick a different song next ball. Because you're right, you won't get any points just hitting the left ramp all day. But none of the modes will give you points if you hit the left ramp all day.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because once you get into multi-ball, then the whole world opens up and you can just get points everywhere.
Yeah. Okay. And once you're in multi-ball, are you trying to hit jackpots? Are jackpots worth it, or are you just trying to somehow just keep the ball alive as long as you can to, go for that song jackpot multipliers?
Well, the first thing I do is I want to make sure I get the add-a-ball, which you have to hit all 5 shots for. Although I think I don't remember, they've been changing this where you might not have to hit all 5, you only have to complete whatever set. So if you had like 3 out of the 5 going into the multi-ball, you might only have to hit 2. I don't know how that works, because sometimes I feel like I hit a bunch of shots and I don't get an add-a-ball, and sometimes I'll just get an add-a-ball right away. So
I pretty much wait until my ball's about to drain and just mash my VAP button, and then it comes back.
Same. But other than that, the jackpots are really good, and you want to combo those. You want to go left ramp, right ramp, because it actually won't give you... I don't think it'll give you another jackpot if you just keep hitting the left ramp. I think there's like a time delay on that. But the jackpots start getting worth a lot, and then you get a super, and the super is like 20 million, which is also on the bell shot, which will usually be multiplied, so you'll get like 40 million.
Okay.
Pretty good.
So I've heard super jackpot before when I'm playing in ACDC, but I'd never know what's going on. So how many jackpots do you need to get the super? This is Jam multi-ball we're talking about, right? Yeah,
Jam. I don't know. It's probably around 10 or 15.
Doesn't it depend on... I always thought it was... Because I remember Jordan Treadaway spent 30 minutes explaining the rules to me, and, me, I would have remembered only about 5 seconds of it. But isn't it also dependent on the albums as well?
I don't think that is on Jam multi-ball. I think that's just on album and tour. It matters.
Right, okay.
Yeah. It's so strange. It's like if you're playing the song that is in the album that you got and you get the albums in order, then your jackpot will also give you the song bonus as well. So it's like, randomly your album multi-ball can just give you a ton of points.
Do you think it's weird that like Lyman Sheets games, they're so complicated but so loved, right? But like you don't even know the rules properly, and you're the number 1 player in the world at the moment. So, but someone like when people talk about Pirates of the Caribbean, they're like, too deep, too complicated. And it's like, well, not really, not compared to this stuff. Like Walking Dead, like you talk about that rule, that's not written anywhere. There's probably no DMD animations for it. Like, how are you meant to know this stuff?
Yeah, I think it goes to show you how well Lyman layers his games, where there's an overarching simple set of instructions, and then each instruction you kind of can go as deep as you want on, and it's just a really good way to build a game because you don't have to learn everything all at once. You can just start with the first layer, and then like an onion, peel back each layer by layer.
Yeah, but stuff like The Hobbit, I think there's a very simple layer there as well. Like the multi-balls, the multi-ball will have 5 stages, but you don't have to know that. You just have to kind of hit the shots and go for the jackpot. And maybe it's the fact that Stern games are kind of everywhere because they're put on site. There's a pro version. They're I guess pretty much the cheapest mass manufactured.
That's definitely true because I can ask somebody rules on a Stern game and usually get pretty straight away answers. But if I'm like, hey, how does multi-ball work in Hobbit? People will be like, I don't know. I just keep the ball alive. Like,
Yeah.
Hobbit scoring is a mystery to me. It's very strange.
All right. Well, everyone has survived 1 hour of game and Raymond talk. So let's get to the big news and what everyone's been waiting for. The news of the week, which is Stern has released a teaser video and not much else. And there's been a lot of discussion on this one little teaser video of the Beatles pinball machine. Rumored to be a Sea Witch layout. Guess what? Everyone was correct. And the funny thing was, a lot of people knew it was Sea Witch for a very long time, and a lot of people talked about it, but it was still a shock to everyone. Like, we were all lying. It was all...
I know. People were like, actually, really? They did do that? We'd been saying it, but as soon as you saw it, it was like, oh, it was actually true. We were expecting it not to be.
Yeah, I don't want to sound pretentious or anything, but it's like, well, either they don't listen to podcasts and read This Week in Pinball, or they don't care, or they just wanted to get angry. I don't know. I think there's a lot of saved up anger since, Iron Maiden and Deadpool came out, and there wasn't really much to be angry about. So let's just unleash on the Beatles.
Yeah,
there's a couple of things that people have unleashed. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we know? We know it's it's based, I don't want to say loosely, but it's based on Sea Witch, but, I mean, we talked about Guardians and Metallica. Guardians and Metallica are so different, but so similar in layout. We've done a couple. There's a lot. I mean, I don't see this playing the same as Sea Witch at all, because, Raymond, when you play Sea Witch, do you ever go for loops? Because they're not really worth it, are they?
Yeah, you can't really hit them very easily. No, you just follow the X's on Sea Witch, and I don't think that's going to be the primary strategy on Beatles. I mean, maybe like the first target bank will light your lock or something, but I don't imagine it's going to have the same bonus multiplier chasing thing that Sea Witch did.
Yeah,
and does it look like it's got modes?
Well, you've got songs. Yeah, but and I think the songs relate to. Well, maybe you have to play them in order. I'm not sure, because one of the songs, All My Loving, underneath it says 2-ball, multi-ball. Drive My Car is... Oh, man, I can't read. Jeff, you didn't do high-resolution screenshots, Jeff, from This Week in Pinball. Here we go. Okay, Drive My Car is Loop Mania, so I'm guessing that's what makes loops worth more. I Should Have Known Better is Drop Target Frenzy. Ticket to Ride is Super Spinners. Spinners with an S on the end, because they've added a spinner to the left entrance of the pop bumper area.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because it's not even a real shot. They invented a shot. They were like,
yeah. And I was chatting to George Gomez a little bit, and I think he will probably be appearing on Nate Shiver's podcast, as is tradition with the new Stern releases. And we're not sure exactly when we're going to get more information about the Beatles, because literally it's just a video that appeared on the Beatles store website. But maybe next week, maybe in 2 weeks is the rumor. But yeah, he opened up that shot because he said he wanted to make it makeable from the kind of like Iron Maiden, where you can start that loop from the lower flipper and then keep on looping around. So he opened up that shot and decreased the width of the right spinner. That's where that room came from. What else we got? Okay, It Won't Be Long is Super Pop Bumpers. So I'm not sure if you get presented with a mode when you start. We'll hear about that soon. But I mean, most of the inserts are still there. I mean, you've got the X in front of each drop target bank. You've got, score the bonus value. If you hit the last drop target on the second time that you do it, you get the same amount of bonus inserts. I don't know.
Wait, can you explain that to me? The Sea Witch, I never actually learned the full rules of those magical, the lights in front of the targets.
Yeah.
I know sometimes they come on and they're worth points, but I never could figure them out.
Okay, so if you drop down a drop target bank, and then you drop down, say, all but one, so you leave one left, it starts blinking and it says score lit bonus value. So say your bonus is worth 25,000 at that time, right? and maybe it's like 6x or something. Ignore the 6x. When you hit that drop target bank down, you get whatever value it's meant to be, like the 1,000 bonus plus whatever, but it's also worth 25,000 points. That's why the loops in Sea Witch are almost worthless, because a max loop value is 11,000, because it's one for every drop target. And if you hit all 3 drop target banks down in the same ball, it's 2x Riptides, right? So that's 22,000 plus whatever you get on the spinner. So it's usually worth going for the drop targets over and over and over again, because if you get that loaded value. And I was talking to Colin McAlpine about it, and he says that it only starts blinking like maybe 1 or 2 seconds after you like leave that one drop target up. So he doesn't know that if you hit 2 to drop it down, like let's say the last 2 drop targets on the bank, if it gives you that value. So he always goes for 1, waits for it to start blinking, and then hits it, because he doesn't trust the solid state.
Oh, so it'll always start blinking if you just hit it even and wait? You don't have to like qualify it or anything?
No, you have to qualify, but it's not the first time. It's always the second time on the same ball, right?
Okay.
And you can have them all blinking at the same time. So if you've got all 3 drop target banks down, and then you hit every drop target except 1 on each bank, they should all be blinking, and you can just score massive points. That's Sea Witch. But that's Sea Witch, and this is Beatles, so this is actually, you know, are you bored, Marty?
How about the Beatles?
Anyway, sorry, back to Beatles.
No, I actually, I really do like Sea Witch, but look, overall, as probably expected, the response to this reveal has been very cool, I think is probably the nicest way of putting it.
Well, I'm glad we're talking about it kind of a couple of days later, because just the first day, it was just like, we're in Australia, so it gets released kind of while we're sleeping. We wake up and you log into Pinside, and it's just absolute trash. And just, man, people, I don't know, people want ramps. People wanted a modern game. People wanted Beatles to be given the Aerosmith treatment. They were thinking, well, if Aerosmith, right, which aren't as cool as the Beatles, gets a whole new unique layout, even though it wasn't, it was Kiss. Why doesn't the Beatle get the same treatment? So I don't know. It's we don't know the price yet. I'm guessing people know it's going to be as expensive as a normal Stern Pro game, or if not more. So I guess people had the same reaction to TNA, right? No ramps, why should it cost us more? People say with this, well, you're copying a layout, why should it cost us more? Well, Joe Kamika already said this costs $1 million to get the license.
Yeah, but he also said this is the game that everybody's going to want.
Did he say the game, or did he say the license? This is the theme that everyone wants. I can't remember.
Well, I don't know. Maybe put it into both. But it was kind of like, he was sort of saying that, when people come into your house and they see this, they're going to go, oh, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. What do you think, Raymond? Would you buy this, or would you
What was the price?
Well, there's no price yet, but it's rumored to be like 7,000 or 8,000 for the peasant version. Oh,
so it'll just be like Batman 66?
Okay, well, this is the thing. This is what we held back in our last episode, and I told Marty to edit it out because I didn't know if this information was kind of meant to be out there. But Jeff from This Week in Pinball has put it out there, so I'm guessing he's got the okay from someone. So the way it works is distributors get allocated a certain amount, right? So if a distributor wanted to buy 10 of the diamond editions, the very highest Super LE version, they can't. They have to buy, say, 15, I'm making these numbers up, they have to buy 15 of the gold version, the lowest version, and with those 15, they then can buy 2 of the LEs and 1 of the Super LE. I'm forgetting the version names. Apparently they get them for the same price, but they are allowed to sell those 2 higher-end versions for whatever they want. Now, we didn't mention it because I thought this is just going to be an absolute mess because Joe Blow is going to sell it for 20,000 and the guy down the street is going to sell it for 15, and then someone's going to get ripped off by $5,000. Do you have any thoughts on this, Marty or Raymond?
Well, I mean, except for people that listen to these podcasts. I mean, if people don't know about it, I don't think anyone will be mad about what they don't know about. But yeah, once they find out, that's going to be, that could cause a lot of trouble. I don't like that.
Yeah, when I first heard about this, I said to Ryan, this is Supreme 2.0, meaning that they're trying to now manufacture that, I guess, that the market that Supreme did, where it was sold for a certain price, but then people resold it at a much higher value depending on its demand. So they are creating this demand, and they can set whatever price based on what the market is willing to pay. Yeah,
I mean, it's true. If people will buy it, the supply and demand, right? If there's only one distributor who you can get it for, then he can charge whatever. I guess, like you said, if there's multiple distributors and you start shopping around, theoretically it should all converge to like the same amount, because no one's just going to pay more if they know they can pay less.
Well, it's almost like whoever gets in first, right? Whoever sets the price first, that's now then the benchmark. If it is a hot selling title, then someone will be smart enough to hold stock back and say, okay, well, everyone was dumb enough to sell this version for 10 grand. Well, I've got the last two in the country, so if you want it, it's 50 grand. Who knows? This is all just kind of, I guess they're kind of substantiated rumors, but the artwork on the playfield, let's go to that. So I had an image in my head of what I thought the artwork is going to be, and someone, I think it was Jeff Teolis, just absolutely said I'm an idiot for saying this, but I mean, every time I see the Beatles, pretty much, it's in like black and white. So for some reason, like, that's how I picture the Beatles. I've never seen them live in person.
You're right. I do think of black and white when I think of them.
Yeah, or not just black and white. Even like the album colors, they're very like old looking, like Abbey Road, like everything. Like they're all wearing like brown and white and like the very earthy colors. So I mean, when I woke up and I saw the video, I'm like, what the hell is this? Like, I didn't think to say, okay, this is nice art or anything, because it was just like a color explosion of like teal and yellows and kind of light colors. So I was kind of taken aback by it, and then when the smoke settled, I'm like, okay, well, this looks pretty funky and very 60s like. But Pinside had the same reaction, but they didn't really come to their senses or anything. It was just, this is the worst looking pinball machine ever, right?
I like the art. I think the art looks good. It looks exactly what it should be. I sort of think, Sgt. Pepper's, which was more colourful, I guess. This is interesting because it's obviously, it's Franchi and it's got his style all over it. It is colourful. It's not, detailed like we expect from, the likes of Zombie Yeti or Dirty Donny. It is that sort of flat line drawn art. It looks fine. I actually quite like it.
It kind of makes me think of Dirty Donny a little bit just from the colours, but I don't know, it seems colourful, right? No?
Yeah, it's colourful.
Yeah, it is very colourful. Yeah, I like it. It's meant to be vibrant. I think really the challenge here is that you have got a very, obviously it's a single level playfield, so you've got a lot of open space. It's kind of hard to make that look exciting, so therefore it's going for more of a colourful retro look.
Well, let's just say that the video that they showed didn't paint the pinball machine as exciting, okay? It wasn't like, okay, juxtapose that against the Supreme video. When I watched the Supreme video, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, look at that cool dude playing that cool pinball machine. I want to be a cool guy like him. Okay, I know that sounds lame. When I watched the Beatles one, I'm like, okay. Like, I know that Sea Witch is an exciting game. Like, it's absolutely brutal and fun. But it was just, I don't know. It just seemed kind of like slow, and I don't think marketing, like the first video is Stern's strongest point. I guess their strongest point is what comes after it. That was their original, like, here's the pin. Everyone can go crazy on Pinside, and we'll give you 2 weeks to calm down, and then we'll release the rest of the information.
But here's the problem, right? Is that what we know about these machines is it is always about how you play it. Because when it plays, that's different. And that's the TNA effect. Everyone looked at TNA and went, I don't get it. As soon as you play it, you understand, because it's fast and it's brutal. That's what makes it exciting. So this could actually have that effect. But you're right, the video kind of made it seem a bit slow, and I don't think it will be a slow game.
Yeah. I mean, sea witches can be slow or fast depending on... the older games are very sensitive to how they're set up. If you have an old game and it's tied with, you haven't rebuilt the pop bumpers, like if you have the slowest and most boring pops on a newer game, say like Star Trek, for example, it doesn't affect the game at all because it doesn't matter how hard the pop bumper kicks the ball. It only has one way to exit, and it's an absolute perfect feed to the upper right flipper. Whereas in Sea Witch, I mean, the spinner might change things a tiny little bit, but in Sea Witch, that's where all the speed is generated from. You get the ball into the pop bumpers, and it can shoot the ball out like in insane speeds because it's open. So, how many people have played a perfect condition Sea Witch? Not many. It can be an absolute fast and brutal game. So, as we discussed previously, Marty, I don't know how much of the song people are going to get to listen to, because who knows if this is a brutal game or not. I don't think we're going to get a Jack Danger reveal of this. Apparently it's going to be. I don't know if the normal selling crowd is the target here.
Do you think it's going to do kind of like Supreme did, where it just kind of fell off the map for me? Like, I remember it being a big thing on Instagram or something, and then I just kind of forgot about it. Like, do you think that could happen, or do you think it's such a big license that I'll actually maybe know somebody around me that will have one?
Well, okay. The Beatles obviously bigger than Supreme in terms of the pinball buying market. A slightly older demographic. I'm not sure about the rumors still of it being home use only, and kind of having a coin door, but it's deactivated in software. I guess we'll learn about that soon. But as we discussed, there still is a way around that if someone really wants to cite it. But I don't know. How many rich friends do you know, Raymond?
He hates. Look, the way I say it is, if you compare it again to Supreme, the difference with Supreme was when people looked at Supreme and went, I don't get the theme, but because nobody cares about Supreme, it really didn't matter. The difference here, I think, is people are like, well, hang on, I actually do like the Beatles, and I wanted a Beatles game that is like, as you said, Aerosmith or whatever, which is, got the ramps and got the deep rule set. That's probably the disconnect, and I think that people are sort of seeing it as a missed opportunity, whereas Supreme, people sort of just didn't care. They just scratched their heads.
Yeah, Supreme is also, I think it was limited to, I can't remember if it was 200 units or 100 units, but this is almost 2,000 units. So obviously there's a lot more units to get through and manufacture.
1964 units?
Yeah, 1964 units, and that's in total.
That's the Pro.
No, that's in total. So,
okay.
1,000. I don't know. I have the numbers in front of me, but yeah.
It's still not a large amount of units to sell. Like they'll sell them all.
Well, we don't know because we don't know. Stern don't release their numbers. So if this sells out, then we will know that Stern has sold 1,964 of them. But we don't know how many Ghostbusters they sold. We don't know how many Metallicas they sold. It could be 3,000. It could be 5,000. It could be 10,000. We literally, all we have to do is guess based on, I don't know, Pinside collector numbers and extrapolate it from there. I don't think it's very accurate.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, we'll see if it's a hit or not sales wise. I think Stern are very confident. I don't know. What do you think, Matty? Do you think they'll sell out of all of them?
I just said that. Yeah, I think they will because I don't think that they are a huge amount of numbers. And yes, I know that we don't know how many they sell per title, but we've sort of got an indication of how many machines they sell per year. I mean, yes, it's only rumor and, people can make up numbers, but I think that's a low run. I think that's still in that sort of boutique-y thing for them. So, yeah, I reckon they'll sell it out. Easy.
I think a lot of pinball sales and the ability to sell a pinball machine fast is highly dependent on the fear of missing out factor. And I'm not sure if that's there for this yet. Maybe Stern will reveal something else, more gameplay footage, more information, something that'll get the hype train going. But I've started to like older games. Marty, you lived through the 60s and the 70s, so you like
How
older games.
dare you? How fucking dare you? I did not live through the 60s.
Okay. Raymond?
But sure, I'll concede 70s and 80s. But yeah, I love old games.
Yes.
Yeah, so
okay.
Yeah, no, this like for me. I find this game appealing.
Okay.
I don't find the price tag appealing, but I like the game.
Raymond, did you?
Yeah.
You like older games now? I'm not asking you to, how much you like older games versus the newer ones. But do you remember back to when you first got into pinball? Did you gravitate towards a certain era?
Oh yeah. I mean, I basically, I kind of dreaded like early solid states because I just thought they were such like random, like no ball save, like there was no ramps, so it was like you're just kind of batting the ball around and. I wasn't a fan of them at all until I had to start actually playing them competitively, and I started I forced myself to learn them, and now actually I like them. I like I have a meteor, so I definitely like them now. But yeah, I definitely gravitated towards DMDs.
And that's my point is that's the first port of call for someone that gets into pinball. It's like the 90s DMD era is just so appealing because of how cool the pinball machine makes you feel, and a lot of the buying community, I think, I'm speaking in generalizations here, but I think a lot of them like the easier games, and ramps make a game easier because it takes longer for the ball to return to the flipper. It's a safe shot. I don't think a lot of people like the solid state games that aren't good at pinball because they are in inherent nature, they're hard, right? And they can make this game easier with ball save and shipping it with the in-lanes closed. But at the end of the day, it's still not...
It looked like they are going to ship it without any inlane rubbers, just like it.
maybe the game's too easy. I don't know. I mean, the 1 millimeter there, maybe George Gomez has created like a really long-playing game. Who knows? But... I see it as, yes, people will buy it, but it's not. It doesn't have that factor that Batman 66 had, where I said unless they're about to reveal something like Paul McCartney's gonna personally sign all of the Diamond editions and give you a call out or something. I don't know. There's got to be something, right, that is better than the layout and the art and the collectability of it. Yes, no,
sure.
Crickets.
Yeah, sure. I'm done talking about Beatles.
Move on.
Let's just
move
on. Someone stream it. Someone play it. Let's see if it's any good to flip. That's what I'm interested in now.
Sure. Okay, so I guess the other only news topic we're going to talk about, because the Beatles kind of dominated this week, is the American Pinball's Oktoberfest price got released. So the price of Houdini was, I believe, $7,000. This one is $7,400. So a $400 price increase, but they're including the art blades, which surely is $400 worth of value right there. Raymond, you got to play Oktoberfest at Pinball Expo, is that correct?
I actually never got to flip it myself. I watched Steve play it a bunch, and I watched a bunch of people play it, but I didn't want to wait in line.
Okay. That's the only reason why we got you on the show, Raymond. You let us down.
Shut this interview down now.
So, okay. What are we going to talk about? I guess what we want to touch on is what Marty has dubbed as Monkeygate. Would you? Who wants to explain this?
So I will. So on the back glass, if you zoom right in, you will see that there is a depiction of a monkey grabbing two ladies on the buttocks, and they are smiling at the camera because they enjoy having their butts touched by a monkey. Is probably the best way to explain that. Okay. It's funny, and look, American Pinball have then come out and said that they realise that the backlash and they're going to change it. People are talking about the fact that it's offensive and it's effectively assault. But effectively, it's bestiality, right? There you go.
Oh shit! Okay.
I mean, it is pretty
a monkey
crazy.
touching butts. Right, it is.
Like, I don't know why they would want to draw that. It seems like they were just asking for this, like, sort of.
Well, it's weird because they really dodged around the whole boobs thing. Like I was literally thinking that there's just going to be a big busted woman just in the like Angus's face, but just a giant pair of boobs. And they didn't do that. But then, yeah, this is probably almost worse than that. But I didn't see it. It was only pointed out, I guess, after our interview we did last week, and we kind of said it was family friendly. And then someone posted on. I'm not sure if it was. I think it was Joe Caravino from Canada, and he posted it on our Facebook page. I'm not sure if he's the first person that found it, but I mean, the art is so detailed that I'm sure there's something else in there that's offensive. The funny thing is that monkey. I mean, that is like the cows to Bally Williams back in the day, where they just started chucking cows and everything. That monkey is I think, the American pinball version of that, because that monkey appeared on Houdini. It has absolutely no place in the Oktoberfest world, but that's the story was that the Houdini wanted extra testosterone, so he was thinking of getting that from a monkey's testicles or something and injecting it into his body. It was never proven that he actually...
Such a great story.
It's a great story. It was never proven that he actually did that. But on the Houdini art, there is a monkey with like 2 Band-Aids over his nether region. So he's not actually a male or a female. He's a non-binary a non-binary monkey. He doesn't choose to identify as a male or female monkey. Now, this is the same monkey, right? So he could be. It could be a lesbian monkey. I don't know. Anyway,
that's right.
Yes, yes. So it's offensive, and it's not. I mean, the pinball community is so small that it's not worth leaving that art in to defy everyone and say, well, no, this is the way we do it. It's not going to be in the final version of the game, and everyone moves on.
No. Well, do you know what was interesting, right? When you're talking about the art and the boobs and everybody, the thing of it was that people, I mean, look, the whole notion of the women being, provocative and all that kind of stuff is kind of there. The biggest criticism people had over the art had nothing to do with the monkey until that came out, or the ladies where they had boobs. It was obviously talk about the lady that's got a moustache. That was intentional. But I think people were really more so critical of the fact that the artwork wasn't consistent. Some of it was cartoon, some of it almost seemed photorealistic. It was just people really complaining that there wasn't consistency throughout the machine.
Well, we know for a fact that they were scrambling to get the job done because, we saw the game a couple of... Yeah. We kind of saw a slightly early version of the game and it was nowhere near kind of being complete. And... I mean, Josh Kugler said himself on Pinside that, those 3 machines that were there were being built that morning and they didn't finish until like 3 p.m. for the 7 p.m. reveal. So the artwork will change. Hopefully, I mean, I would just love to see that. The game, the layout seems really cool. Jeff Teolis, Raymond said that you described it as Joe Bolsa's greatest hits. With you kind of, I guess, saw stuff from Simpsons and was on there.
Yeah, it's got the ramp, the side ramp, the like, I don't know, the weird. It kind of makes me think of Wizard of Oz, like the layout.
The 2 magnets are the exact same, pretty much locations that the magnets are on Wizard of Oz.
Yep.
I guess maybe it's less apparent on Wizard of Oz because you've the upper player field's kind of blocking a bit of the view, but the Wizard of Oz can catch the ball to drop it into the top lanes, or for the monkey to pick it up, and it can catch it for the witch kill shot. So same kind of idea there, but obviously a bit different as well. So hopefully we'll see a slightly different art package come up for that, and that's Oktoberfest. I
said it last week, in that they've got a good layout now, right? I think everyone was saying the layout's great. Artwork can change, that's the easy part to change, so get to it, Joe. Or Jeff.
Well, I think the one criticism was the side ramp is basically as hard as hitting the treehouse ramp on Simpsons, which, if anyone's played Simpsons, how hard that shot is.
It really why is it hard? Is it the geometry? Because the entrance to that really shot is huge. Like, you've got Dirty Harry at home, Raymond. Like, you can hit that shot all day and it just feels so good. Why does the treehouse shot feel so weird?
You can't see the entrance to that ramp on Simpsons.
It's not. It's not.
I think the treehouse ramp is narrow. I mean, I don't know. It also, I think it is the geometry. I think it's weird because the upper flipper on Simpsons somehow it's supposed to be able to hit the through the pops target, the comic book guy, the side ramp, the quickie mart. Like, something's got to give. No flipper can be angled to have a sweet spot on all those shots. So I think it's just in an awkward spot on the flipper.
Yeah, I guess that's an interesting way to put it, because I think they even mentioned there's about 6 shots you can hit off that upper flipper, including like the Stein mode start and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I think it's the same problem. I think it's spread too thin. I don't think it's just so hard to make a side flipper shot that's consistent and still have a whole bunch of other shots you can hit with a side flipper, because there's just not that much play you can have with a side flipper.
It's all about the software working with that, right? Like, the treehouse shot on The Simpsons isn't really essential to progressing through the game, and versus like in Dirty Harry, like, you want to hit that shot because it's the super jackpot shot, right?
Right.
I think it's also the position of the ramp, because it is a little bit lower. It's almost, horizontal to the flipper. So the comparison I'll give as well. So, we talk about things like Star Trek with its warp ramp and similar Steve Ritchie's, where that ramp is sort of a little bit higher. So it's earlier on the flipper. And if you think about momentum, if the ramp is further down, then the ball's going to be a little bit faster as it gets towards the end of the flipper. Because there's another game that's similar that I really struggled when I was at Indisk, and that was Monopoly, getting the jackpot side ramp, because that is also a little bit lower as well.
Yeah, dialed in's pretty high, and you can just really dial in that shot and hit it almost every time.
That's right, because it's high, yeah.
That's probably why the SIM card is so hard, because it's so late.
Yes, that's exactly right.
We've figured it out. We've cracked the code, guys.
The SIM card hole is actually quite a nice size. It is actually quite wide, but I think that's exactly right, because it is horizontal to the upper flipper.
It's kind of also another game like that is Demo Man. How many times have you hit that side ramp on Demo Man? Did you even know there was a side ramp on Demo Man?
All the time. What are you talking about? No, it's very hard. Do you know what they should do is, Demo Man almost has it like swapped around, right? Like, it should be like the ramp should be where that massive scoop is, and the scoop where should be where the ramp is. And dialed in has it right, except the SIM card shot is like, it can bounce out. Like, can you imagine if the SIM card shot on dialed in was the same style as
the Demo Man scoop?
Yeah, not as big, right? 'Cause that's huge, right? But can you imagine that there's nothing stopping it from bouncing out? It's just, if it goes in there, it goes down into a subway.
Yeah, that'd be great. I actually removed the Cliffy on my dialed in because I got sick of rejects.
Yeah. It's so much more fun. I mean, every Pat Lawler game, like, just is so much harder with a Cliffy. Like, you can just, my Adam's Family is worn to shit on the chair shot, but I can hit that shot just perfectly because there's no bounce out. It's all chipped around the chair shot. But that's how the game was designed by Pat Lawler. When he was spending 2 years designing dialed in, he did it millimeter perfect for no Cliffy. So when you add a Cliffy, you're absolutely destroying the geometry of the game. But which one do you want? Do you want a better playing game and lower the resale value, or do you want to keep the resale value of your game there but be frustrated while you play it? It'd be nice if you could have both. Yeah. But yeah,
correct.
We'll see with Pat's next game if it comes with a Cliffy, because there's going to be there's going to be a scoop. Every game he has a scoop, right? And there'll be some side shot or something. So, all right, mate. Thanks for joining us.
All right. Thanks for having me, guys.
Catch you later.
Thanks, Raymond.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
So that was Raymond Davidson. And Ryan, what did we learn?
Not enough. So many unanswered questions. Like, what did he think of Thunderbirds?
Yeah, that's true. He got to play Thunderbirds. I don't think you went deeply enough into the rules of all the games.
Well, I wanted to know, like...
Yeah, it was a snooze fest.
Okay, if you enjoy talk like that, please email in head-to-head. I'm serious.
No, I know you're serious, because then you'll send me going, people want it!
Yeah.
I know, because one person has said it.
Well, it's... Okay, email in if you don't like hearing that stuff. No, how about that?
What's really interesting about Raymond is, and I've known this as well, he doesn't necessarily know the intricate rules like some other people that we speak to. He knows everything that you need to have the perfect game.
Okay.
So, and that's what he can do. He can just set up everything at once, but, doesn't necessarily need to know how all those bonus behind the scene points are made. He just knows exactly what to do.
Sure.
So, there you go.
Yeah, a couple of things we missed, a bit all over the place with our news reporting, but did you know, Marty, that the Beatles pinball machine, the remake, not the remake, the new pinball machine by Stern,
yep.
Did you know the spinners, Marty, don't use micro switches and they have optos to count the spins, which means less resistance, which means more spins?
Yeah, I did know that.
Did you know that the Beatles, regardless of how much it costs, still has yellow instruction cards?
That drives you nuts.
Well, Batman 66 had the Super LE treatment, and that didn't have yellow instruction cards, so I think Greg Ferris just didn't get the memo this time. Maybe they'll change it for me one day. Maybe that'll be my influence on the hobby is stamping out.
Yeah, they may have yellow cards, but there's no inappropriate monkeys on it, so they've still done okay.
The cool thing about American Pinball is they not only have custom instruction cards, they also let you know the history behind the theme they're going with, right? So there is actually Oktoberfest Wikipedia copy and paste stuff on the Oktoberfest pinball machine. Isn't that great, Marty?
Oh,
just in case you don't know what Oktoberfest is, you walk up to the machine and you're like, I don't want to put $2 in this, and then you read the instruction card, like, oh shit, this has been going on for 100 years. I want to put some money in.
Yep.
Okay. Did you know, Marty? Did you know that before this crazy, sexy monkey thing started to happen, that an American pinball representative said that there will be alternative art available for Sextoberfest as an additional purchase? Now, I'm not sure if that just means like a racy translite, or if it's kind of like the radicals on JJP where you can like slap on, like side art as well. But do you think that's a good idea now after what's transpired?
I would hope it's radicals.
Radicals? Well, no, I don't. No,
it's butter cabinet.
I don't know. Anyway. Last week we posed the question: would it be cool if Stern went online? Since they're going to do it, and what would be some cool additions that they could do for the pinball machine?
Fantastic! And how many entry did we get?
We got one from Jared Mendoza. We can read it now if you want. Just to blend in the mail segment into the normal show.
Sure. Let's go.
Yeah. Okay. Caught me off guard.
He says, you asked what I'd like in a pinball machine. Should they go wireless? Split screen in the back for gameplay, and Pornhub. That's what we all want. I'm just saying it for the masses. Deliver it Stern and Deep Root, and pinball will become the norm.
That's why people have mobile phones, Mr. Mendoza. I started a thread on Pinside, very active, but very active for the reasons of arguments. Unfortunately, there were some good ideas in there, but most people will kind of, a lot of people don't care about it, just like you, Marty.
Oh,
keep it offline.
No.
A lot of people are excited about it, and then a lot of people are like, well, I don't want my pinball machine to get hacked, bro. There's hackers out there, hacksaws. They're going to 001111 in my pinball machine, and boom, they're going to steal all my information. I don't know. It's true. Anything that is online can be hacked, but yeah, I'm sure Stern is surely, well, maybe not. I don't know. But who's going to hack a pinball machine? Some bored person. Okay, here are two answers that I plucked out. One was from Yoko to Una on Pinside. He said, weekly tournaments for similar machines running similar code. Create virtual leagues for those who aren't in an area where there are leagues close by. Of course, there's issues surrounding that to do with tilt bobs, and maybe they can also have like a digital tilt bob, so you can't cheat it. I don't know. Zach AJ, who is Zach from the Slam Tilt podcast, said, I like to see automatic reporting of issues, etc. while en route. No need to go and check your games if they can tell when they detect an issue, and maybe give you reminders to clean them every 100,000 plays. And I guess you can also see earnings. And yes, and my idea was to have head-to-head battles, right? So me versus you, Marty. if they could somehow incorporate streaming into the whole thing as well, that'd be awesome. But yeah, a head-to-head battle, Marty, where I say, let's get to Kobayashi Maru, like we've done before in the past, but instead of saying, oh, I got there first or you got there first, the machine just dies when someone gets there and it shows up on the screen and you can have an ongoing tally, blah, 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 blah. I know you don't care. You're not listening. It's going to happen, mate. It's going to happen one day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there is a use for it. I don't know. I just don't know.
Everyone says I don't know until they do it and it becomes the norm. I'm sure. I could play you can play Doom online. Like from the 1990s, you could play online. Pinball machines are super duper far back, and yes, I know it's a mechanical, real world experience kind of thing, but it doesn't mean that you can't share that experience with someone somewhere else. Marty, you just want to play something that's 100, don't you? Is that what you're waiting for?
I am desperate for it. No,
guess what, Marty?
I'm still in holiday mode. You know that.
Marty, did you know that Pinside updates the top 100 every week, but they've added a little thing I just noticed saying the top 100 will update in 6 days and 21 hours. So whenever we record, it's literally 3 hours after it updates.
Okay, well, that's
Medieval Madness is back to its number one position.
Number one.
JPOTC, they didn't properly put that, Robin, is number 2. The second greatest game of all time. Unfortunately, Iron Maiden is pin sliding all the way down to 7th position, Marty.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Pin sliding, bringing that one back up. Still, I'm looking, still no sign of Thunderbirds.
Oh, did it get more ratings?
No, I can't see it, so maybe not.
This game has received 11 approved ratings, only 4 more needed. Woohoo! Let me just quickly read the latest rating, Marty. Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
5 days ago. So this was after our podcast. I think this was because of us. This is by Caucasian Two-Step. Thunderbirds is a new game from Australia/China. The pros. Someone with a passion for pinball made it happen. The T2 ramp and... T2 as in Thunderbirds 2. I thought it was copying Terminator 2. Okay, the T2 ramp and lock is interesting, and multiple start with the ball rising from under the playfield is neat. The cons. The game does not play well. The ramp in the middle to spell international rescue with one shot for each letter does not add to the challenge of the games. It adds monotony to the game. While the stand-up drop targets to load the T2 lock, blah, 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 blah. Why bother? Take away. New pinball companies are a good thing. New pinball games are a good thing. But if the product is not up to snuff, the company is not going to survive. 3.785 out of 10. Okay. That's pretty low.
Yeah, well, the next one is, I wanted to like it more, but that center ramp isn't fun to shoot. Beyond that, it takes up prime real estate and prevents some cross-playfield shot. The raising ramp also seems like a disappointment. It lifts up and then the ball just bangs around on some exposed targets. Love seeing new companies take a crack at it, but this first attempt is a miss, swing and a miss for me.
I like this detailed review from Pinballer 31520.
Fun theme!
Fun theme, 7.6 out of 10.
Yep. And that's been edited.
Four more rating. I can't wait to see where it debuts. Every JJP debuted at 2. Can we get this up to number 1 on Pinside?
Not
just for lols.
With those ratings.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
Last week, Marty, I absolutely destroyed your ass. Finally. Yes, thank you. I can't even remember what the game was, but I remember.
Well, I do. It was Mousing Around versus Phantom of the Opera. And here's the reality, because, obviously last week we just sort of argue our points. Mousing Around is by far the better game. It is
100%.
So much fun to play. The problem with Phantom of the Opera, it's not the art. I love the look of that machine.
Ugh.
The problem is, it's just the layout is just terrible. The rules are really awful. Like, there's actually nothing to do in that game, really. Multi-ball, get that ramp on your last ball to either double your score or get bloody millions or something. It's just... no.
Is multi-ball available for free on the last ball, regardless of what you've done?
That I don't know. I don't think it's of that same year that those...
that year.
I was about to say that era. But,
okay.
Because it's pretty much an early
99,
data race. It didn't have modes or anything. So,
Wait, does it have a D&D? I don't think it does.
No.
Look at the translate here. Anyway, all right.
And the worst part of Phantom of the Opera is this woman's scream. When you think those screams that you've heard on, modern machines like Houdini, they are nothing compared to the scream from Phantom of the Opera. It is the worst.
Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Please generate a number from 100 to 200.
Okay. 157.
Is The Adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends.
Don't forget the friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's my one. What a fun game. Just an absolute fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Please generate a number from 100 to 200.
All right. 166.
Farfalla. Thank you.
Oh, 2 super colourful rainbow pinball machines.
Yep.
Who will win?
Only
Okay.
one of them playable.
You ready to go, Marty?
Yeah, you go first.
Alright, let me just get a picture, actually.
Sure.
I was a little bit too confident there.
I'm really keen to hear you go into the rules of this game.
Should I?
Yep, that's right. I want you to tell me at least 2 rules in this game.
I've got the instruction card right. Yeah. You ready, Marty?
I'm ready.
So, do you remember, Marty, last week how I said Data East pinball machines are rubbish? They're not.
Yeah.
They're great.
I remember, I think everyone remembers you saying all Data East machines are terrible.
Well, what am I comparing it to this week, Marty? Not a Williams machine. So, okay. Rocky and Bullwinkle and Friends. Don't forget the Friends. Absolutely amazingly fun pinball machine because it's colourful, okay? No drab Phantom of the Opera shit, okay? We got 3 different colours for the wire forms. You got yellow, you got green, you got blue. They even painted the inside of the cabinet blue, Marty. It's like don't care about art blades. You got a blue cabinet, okay? You got beautiful art, just vibrant popping colours with like flowers as the inserts. As with all Data East games, you can get tri-ball because they couldn't use the word multi-ball. This is one of the only games, Marty, that will reward you for a death save. Did you know that, Marty? That if you death save on this pinball machine, it'll give you like a bonus and say something on the DMD. Isn't that exciting? The only pinball machine to do it. Just encourage you to break the legs of your pinball machine. The rules are pretty cool, Marty. You get modes, you shoot the shots, you shoot the blinking light. Yes, better than any Zachariah pinball machine out there. Data East, Rocky and Bullwinkle, and Friends.
Wow. Oh, you're going to get a caning. Farfalla by Zachariah. One of, if not the prettiest games you'll ever find. And did you know what Farfalla means, Ryan?
I don't know. Is it the same as Bodana?
It means butterfly.
Okay.
Oh, isn't that nice? So, a vote against this machine is a vote for the destruction of beautiful butterflies. So, this is a great game. I love this. It's probably, I wouldn't necessarily say it's even the best playing Farfalla, but overall, for the sound package is fantastic. The art is great. The layout is great. It's got an upper play field. It's got these really cool things, like forget about your Magnuslings. This has actually got flippers on the outlane. So once you do what you got to do to light the auto thing, as the ball goes down, the flipper flips out and it's almost like a ball return. Very innovative. I've got a real soft spot for this game. I played it a lot when it came out. A friend of mine had one at home. I played it to death. It is a fantastic game, and they're very hard to find, and therefore they go for an absolute fortune.
This is the difference between these two pins, Marty. Both of them are good looking. I will argue for you that Farfalla is prettier than Rocky and Bullwinkle. But Rocky and Bullwinkle is actually fun to play, okay? Farfalla is just pretty. That's all it is, okay? It's got an upper play field that just doesn't really do that much, right? And there's no multi-ball, Marty. Rocky and Bullwinkle has multi-ball, and I'm guessing that it's also free on the last ball for all the newbies. So a vote for Farfalla is a vote for the mindless raising of prices in pinball purely to do with art. And we don't want that in pinball, Marty. We want amazing art and we want good gameplay. Data East will give that to you, Marty.
Okay.
The lovable characters of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends. What's the character on Farfalla? The butterfly?
Sure.
Just the colours?
Yep.
Rainbows?
Beauty. It's beauty.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay.
Okay. So
You have to tell me how bad Rocky and Bullwinkle is.
Here's the problem with Rocky and Bullwinkle. One of my absolute favourite themes. I grew up watching Rocky and Bullwinkle religiously. And the great thing about the show is that there's so many characters. You know, you've got Boris and Natasha, you've got Mr. Peabody and Sherman, you know, obviously as well. They're the friends, right? You know, with Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends. The problem with this machine is they didn't do that many call-outs. So it just is so freaking repetitive. The same thing over and over again. And
are there any call-outs in Farfalla, Marty?
No, that's what I've got. There's probably, you know, Farfalla from Zachariah. I don't know. I don't know how it starts. But the actual problem with Rocky and Bullwinkle is it's actually not a fun layout. It's just not fun to shoot. I loved it when it came out. I hate it now because the layout is just, it really is not a lot of fun. And rules-wise, which you didn't go into because I don't think you've ever played this machine.
I have played the machine, Marty.
Have you?
One game.
Yeah,
One
there
game.
you go. And I can't remember what it is, but it's also one of these games that can't be played in tournaments because it's got this really obvious exploit that everybody goes for and it completely ruins the game. So, you know, it's like one of those catch-up feature things or, you know, most games get 50 million, but there's one shot that's 1 billion and, you know, it's just, no, it's not a great game. Whereas Farfalla is a really nice,
is always
classic game.
featured. Yes, it's featured in tournaments all the time, isn't it, mate?
Well, you just can't find Farfallas because people have them in their private collections. They don't want to let them go because they are so beautiful.
You fucking bullshit us. You had a chance to buy a Farfalla a couple of months ago. Andy Boot and me messaged you when you were looking for that Avatar Pinball machine, and you're like, pretty game, but, you know.
Well, it's just not what I wanted. I didn't want a solid state of that era. I wanted a more modern machine. But for that era, Farfalla is a fantastic game.
You can see the chick's nipples.
Oh,
wait,
well, we need
is that an alternative translite? No, it isn't. Oh, Monkey Gate. Butterfly Gate.
Okay,
you can see nipples.
Guys, everybody, right? You know, regardless, because everyone's just going to see the GIFs and you're going to have a really funny Rocky and Bullwinkle GIF and it's going to get the win, right? Here's what you got to understand, people. Ryan has not given you a solid argument. And I'll tell you why.
I have.
No, well, did you talk about the backglass?
The backglass of Farfalla?
No, of Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Okay, if backglass to backglass, vote for Farfalla because it's very pretty and she has.
That's not what I'm talking about. What's notable about the backglass on Rocky and Bullwinkle?
Rocky's there and Bullwinkle's there and also the friends are there. A true representation of the name of the pinball machine, Marty.
All right, so everybody listening, I gave him an opportunity to demonstrate that he had knowledge about this machine. He doesn't. Because it has got an interactive backglass. He pulls a freaking rabbit out of the hat and he gets it wrong and he goes, that trick never works.
Because I don't give a shit about interactive backglasses.
No. See, guys, a vote for Ryan is a vote for criminals. He's a fraud.
Criminals? He's a fraud. Okay. I'll put that up on Facebook on Tuesday/Wednesday, and you guys and girls can vote for who had the best argument or who has the best nipples in this case. I might just give you someone that has their nipples poking out, Marty, and that might give you the win. How about that?
Okay.
That's all this game is. It's a rainbow with nipples, okay?
Yep, okay.
Farfalla. Rainbow plus nipples equals Farfalla. Okay.
Oh, yeah, social media It's so lame.
Okay, this week we're going to link all this stuff in the show notes. Someone is making a Breaking Bad pinball machine, and he's retheming Judge Dredd to do it. And we posted it on Facebook and Instagram, and I think it looks bloody cool.
I think it looks fantastic. One person didn't think so.
Well, most didn't think so, and the artist came in and said it was fake news. I thought that was funny. So the artist is Brian Allen, who we talk to every once in a while, and he's the guy who was in the alternative Alien Alley pinball machine thingy.
Flyland Designs. That is Flyland Designs. Look him up.
.com.au, Marty?
No, just .com. Because his art is sensational. He is very good.
Yep.
And that Breaking Bad playfield looks exceptionally good.
I like the use of colours.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just a custom homebrew game, but I'm excited to see it finish because I'm not sure. I think he's getting someone else to do the cabinet art and the backlash, but it'd be interesting to see the full complete game and how many, because I mean the inserts have like custom modes on there, so how much detail would this guy go into to create his custom film?
This is what I'm saying. Like, if you just put, let's say you get a playfield and plus you get plastics and all that kind of stuff, and you make it look like a Breaking Bad game, you're still playing Judge Dredd, the code, unless they're redoing the code as well. Because I don't know. I don't get it unless you are recoding it. It just seems a bit odd to me if it looks like Breaking Bad, but you're still hearing the call-outs from Judge Dredd.
Yeah, well, I mean, what are the call-outs in Judge Dredd? 15 years for this, 15 years for that. Yeah. So it could be the cop guy. I don't know. Talking about retheming pinball machines, segue. That same crew that did the retheme for Castrol have done it again with a retheme for Illawarra 98 FM Convoy, whatever the hell it is. I'm pretty sure I showed you, Marty. It's the same game again, right?
Yep, it looks
like a same game, but this one's like just rainbow colors. We'll link that in insurance as well. Yeah. How much did we say it went for, Marty?
I don't know.
I think it was auctioned off for charity. Someone bought it for, take this, Beatles and Stern, $50,000. Wow. That is insane.
So, and it is a true limited edition. There is only one of them.
What else this week? Just to be on the topic of Monkeygate, we got an
you know what? If we're going to be really inappropriate, let's go all the way.
Let's just piss off as many people as we can this week, Marty. We got an email, a frequent emailer, and they said, a new pinball machine for the Nintendo Switch, Japanese only. Sexy anime girls, see for yourself. Looks fun. Rest in peace, Highway Playboy. Now, I clicked on this link expecting just, I don't know, a pinball machine with Japanese art on it, but this is a bit more interactive than that, Marty, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure about this. Like, it's a Nintendo Switch game, and it is incredibly inappropriate. So, if you thought Monkeygate was bad, this is far worse.
Yes, this is obviously Japanese people just can get away with anything, because if a monkey grabbing a girl's ass is offensive, and I'm not saying that it's not offensive, but then this is like,
if you want to,
you're gonna get triggered.
Yeah,
yes,
if you want to be
like
offended,
to get triggered,
click the fucking link on this thing because it's really offensive. But Ryan said it's out there, it's news, it's social media.
Yeah, hey, we got emailed this before the monkey thing, so this is not someone saying it's funny and here's the content. This was before we do a weekly show. Okay.
But I guess what I was saying is that if you were offended by Monkey, there's actually worse out there. So, I don't know. It's hard. It's hard what to make of this, because you look at it, you go, oh, well, that's just Japan. That's what they do. But should they?
Oh, Japanese people are fucking weird, Marty. They're very weird.
Yeah, I know, you're telling me.
What else? Buffalo Pinball. Our friends at Buffalo, the Broad You Even Buffalo Pinball. Is that the name of the show?
It's not. Give it another go.
It's not. It's close. If you would like to know what the best game ever is, they have an hour and 50-minute show about Pirates of the Caribbean, and they interview Eric, and they literally talk about the machine for like an hour and a half plus on. And Nick said it's his favorite pinball machine ever. They both have the pinball machine. They both bought it, and not to cite, for themselves. So they are both obsessed with the pinball machine. If you would like to watch and hear people passionately talking about that pinball machine and why they think it's a good pinball machine, we'll link that in the show notes.
Cool.
Marty, I'm glad that these are all stories for me. You've done a lot of research this week. Marty, did you know that Flip Frenzy is a very hard format to run? Did you know that?
I do know that because I've run like 5 of them.
Yes, and Jimmy has good software out there, and the spreadsheet is good, but it's hard to kind of explain. It is now going to be supported by Andreas on Match Play. I'm not sure if we've mentioned that before, but he has officially kind of teased it on the Tilt forums. It looks very cool. Literally just press a button and it tells you the next game.
Excellent. Love it. Good. We need
last one, Matty.
I hope it's
last
out
one
before December 1st because that's when I'm running the big mega lock-in with 100 people on it.
How good would it be if it's so easy to run, Marty, that you can just have like a tablet there, right? And the queue kind of like monitors the tablet and you and me can play as well.
Oh,
and then just
I love that.
Yeah, let's do it. The last one is, remember I was talking about Quicksilver, Marty, and the fact that my playfield is fucked and there's no reproduction playfields.
Wouldn't it be really nice if someone, Mirko, was going to do a reproduction, but only if they got enough numbers?
And wouldn't it be cool, Marty, if I message everyone that I know that has a Quicksilver and they have enough numbers?
And then mention it on a podcast. People, if
Yes.
you want a repro Quicksilver, please put a note in to do it because Ryan's Quicksilver is absolute arse. Like it actually is. Like someone's actually
it
jumped
is.
over it.
Yeah. You know what's funny though is that someone messaged me today and it said like, well, once they do the playfield, like you can build your own machine. Like that's the final thing. Like you can get everything else. You can get reproduction. You can make your own cabinet. All the parts are generic in the back box. Like powering everything. There's no ramps. It's just like spinners and stuff. So I mean, I don't need to, but I'm like, well, maybe I should make a Quicksilver if no one will sell me a Quicksilver. Probably not. It's gonna be bothered. But anyway, that was Social Media Watch. What did you get up to this week, Marty, in pinball?
Well, the first thing I did was I attempted to stream Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
I remember the magnets didn't work, but I fixed the magnets.
With the fuse that James came in. Yeah.
That's right. Now that the lock mechanism on Wizard of Oz where you've got that weird sort of bar that comes down and lifts up.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not lifting anymore.
At all?
At all.
Have you gone into
I've done nothing.
solenoid tests?
No.
Okay.
I turned it off and moved the stream over to Star Trek.
Okay.
So I've just added that on the list of things that you need to come over and fix.
Is it registering the lock? That's the important question.
Yes.
Okay, so it registers all 3 locks and then multiple starts and nothing happens.
That's right. And so when you put a ball back up that middle ramp, it just stays there.
Yeah, it just stays there. Okay, so that means the optos are working, or at least the first opto. Maybe the second or third opto aren't working. They all are kind of plugged in separately into our little opto boards. That's one thing you can look at.
This easy. Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah, or the solenoid's not working. One of them.
Yeah, great. Anyway,
Okay.
so that was really that. But I've actually, you know how you went over to Japan and you told everybody about Japan, and it literally went for like 45 minutes, even though it was not pinball related.
There was a funny poo story in there, though.
There was, quite a few.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, I'll give you a funny poo story. Did you know that wombats, the shape of their poo is cubed?
No, I did not know that. How does their ass do that?
Do you know what? It was the question I really wanted to ask, but I never did. But all I heard is that they have any bit of nutrient or any bit of liquid just is absolutely absorbed, so it just comes out rock hard. Anyway, they are cubed poos. Why am I telling you this story? Well, you started talking about poos. I wanted to give a poo story. I have been to an island.
Okay.
An island in the middle of fucking nowhere. Well, it's actually in the middle. It's in between Victoria and Tasmania. It's in the middle of Bass Strait.
Sorry, 1 second. I googled why is wombat poo square, and it said related questions. People ask, do wombats have square buttholes?
Which is the question I wanted to ask. Do they have square buttholes?
Die when they poo. What the Fuck. Why would a sloth die when they poo? Okay. Sorry.
So, the reason why this is relevant is because I went to a place called Flinders Island, which is in the middle of Bass Strait. It's an hour flight on, you know what? It's an airplane that's got propellers. Seriously. Like, crazy. And it is honestly the most beautiful place I think I've ever been to. Just spectacular beaches, spectacular mountains, but it's a land lost in time. It's very rural, very agricultural. Everybody knows each other's business. Everyone talks to everybody.
What businesses are there? Is it just tourism or?
There is tourism. There's lots of farm. So exporting lamb is very important. So if you ever get Flinders Island lamb, it is the most amazing thing you can see on a menu. Cheese, they make their own gin.
They make their own gin. Holy crap. Okay.
It's a plant that they make into oils. I don't know. It's like a country town. But everybody, honestly, particularly those people that are in Australia, look up Flinders Island and just go. Like it's a pretty much a hippie commune, really.
Is it a good place for a holiday for me and the kids, or they'll be
absolutely
bored out of their brain?
Well, if you like going on walks, if they like swimming in beaches, like I swear to you, you look at the water at the beach and you can see the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
It is that clear. I mean, I sent you some pictures. You saw it was
just some, Marty. Just one every 5 minutes.
Yeah, sure. I was just reminding you how I was literally in paradise. So the problem was it was completely devoid of pinball. So I've been away for 4 days. I just got back today. So, and not really good internet, I'm afraid.
Well, you still did the Raymond interview.
Well, and that's why you can tell the audio quality of that interview from my side was pretty low because I didn't have great internet coverage.
Dedication. It's just dedication.
Yeah, that's what I did.
This week, I did a couple of things. I'll briefly kind of go through them. I went to Bayside, Marty, just for the sake of going, and just did absolutely horribly. Marty, did you know that their machines are all in horrible condition? Did you know that? Did I mention that?
Many times.
Yep. Okay. I'm going to go through all three of them really quickly. The 3 games that I played that I didn't qualify on. The Iron Man, I spent the entire game trying to get into Ironmonger multi-ball, and I did, and only 1 ball came out because 2 balls are missing from that game.
Right. Okay. I don't know how that's possible, but yeah.
But yeah, I just somehow 2 balls. On Ghostbusters, I was going pretty well, and I was on my last ball. I had an okay score, and the extra ball light came on. The extra ball at the scoop came on. I'm like, all right, I want to go for that because it's the last ball and we play extra balls in this tournament. So I hit the scoop and it's a long animation. You know that, Marty? It's a long, unskippable animation. So I got it and I walked away. Not walked away like back to the pinball machine, but I took a step back just to cool down. It's an intense game. It went in the scoop and no animation, no extra ball getting awarded, and then shot it back out. And you know that Ghostbusters, Marty will shoot it straight down the middle.
Yep.
Yes. And everyone saw it, and I was like, well, there's only one switch in there, so it registered the ball going in there. That's why the solenoid went off to kick it out, but it didn't award anything. So, Ghostbusters. It is on old code, but after those 2 pinball machines, I just didn't care anymore. And Metallica was all my own fault. That machine's fucked, but it was all my fault. Going for an extra ball for 3 balls and draining, going for the extra ball instead of just going for multi-ball.
That's also got a right sling that often doesn't register. So you think the ball's going to bounce over and it doesn't, and you lose the ball.
Yeah. The funny thing was, Metallica was my last game, and I usually say, because it uses this weird format where it's kind of like, is there an official name for the format? Because this is not officially supported on Match Play, is it?
Well, yeah, it is. It's a best game format.
It's best game, but best game is usually like 100, then 95. Everyone gets a score like that. Whereas this uses a more fair method, I guess, where the highest game, the game that has the highest scoring, and which is always Ghostbusters, that is the base value, and then every game is averaged out and given a multiplier based on that. So if you get 5 million on Iron Man, the average is, say, like 10 million, it'll bubble up. It's like 20 times that Iron Man's. Anyway, hard to explain, but all I needed, Marty, was like, I think 14 million on Metallica. But easy. I didn't check. I was just like, you know what? I'm going to get it all inside my head, and I'm going to get like 13 million if I know it's 14 million. So I got 5 million. Anyway, it was stupid. Okay, it was a dumb. I horribly performed on. I went to PAX this weekend, Marty. I wasn't planning to, but I went on Friday and I hung out with Jared. I got to play Deadpool for the first time.
And what'd you think of it?
Really early to tell. I think I played 2 or 3 games, and they had it set up right. So that shot that everyone talks about that clunks, it only clunked on me once. And yes, it is extremely unsatisfying when you think you've hit that shot perfectly, but when you do hit it, it's beyond satisfying. So I guess there's a balance there somewhere in the middle, right? Sometimes you're going to be really satisfied, sometimes you're going to be pissed off. I mean, I couldn't hear exactly the sounds, but I still think it's weird that there's so many different types of sounds in that game.
Yeah, when they've got the old Williams sounds in there, that seems a bit odd to me.
It does, and it shouldn't, but it's like, I'm going to compare it again to TNA. Like, I get TNA because it has like the same genre of music all the way through, right? So when you hear that, like the spinner sound complements that, whether it's the normal spinner sound or the super spinner sound. With Deadpool, it's that classic sound, but you're comparing it to what else is going on. And there's so many different types of music in that game that sometimes it doesn't feel weird. Maybe it's just a matter of getting used to. I might go to Pixel Alley this weekend to play it again in the tournament because it's been cited there.
Yes,
so
that's true.
There's one 10 minutes away from my house. What else? I had a Halloween party this weekend, which was half pinball people, but half normal people, and everyone played.
I love that.
Pinball people aren't normal, you know that, Money.
That's right.
And I did have a moment where we played 4-player games on the old classic games, and it was just I've never done that properly, and it took, I think, 20 minutes to go through 4 of the games with 4 people. That's the cool thing about classic games, is just no one's waiting around forever.
Awesome.
And that's it.
Awesome.
Are we done for the week, Marty?
I think we're done for the week. I think that's pretty good effort from us and from Raymond Davidson. That was a fantastic effort from him.
I give him a 7.
As a pencil PD rating.
We just got an email, Marty. Are we doing the mailbag?
Yeah, go for it.
This is a long email, Marty. You read the long emails. Well, okay, yeah, that is the only email. It's from Switzerland.
Okay. All right, I'll read it then.
Holy shit, this is a long email. Okay, go for it.
It says, greetings from Switzerland. I'm a new but enthusiastic fan of your show, and as an Australian living overseas, it's great listening to Aussie accents and humour from afar. I enjoy listening to your show whilst working on practical things at work, and it really helps me during my commutes and long drives. Lots of fun. I've had an idea in my mind for a while now for an interesting theme for pinball machine that I wanted to share with you, which is an unlicensed particle collider theme or a licensed CERN theme. I assume you know the organisation.
Yes.
Know the organisation. I have a friend that works there.
Nice.
It's true. It does. It says, imagine some cool toys with a plasma, like one of those glass ball things with purple plasma inside that when you touch the glass, you're focused where your hand makes contact with the glass, which is kind of similar to what they've got in
Monster
Bash.
No, he's talking about that. No,
but he's talking about the ball. But you know what I mean.
You could put that in a pinball machine; it would just shatter into a million pieces.
No, I know.
Right.
He said, and then upper playfield that is a circular system. I reckon we've probably said too much. This is going to be a homebrew thing, but
Yeah, there's a lot of links and stuff. It was either Getaway or Star Wars, because the Hadron CERN is the Hadron Collider, right?
Yeah, that's it. That's what they are.
Yeah, so they whiz particles around at insane speeds and they smash them together and they record the results to see if they can make new elements and all that kind of stuff. Anyway,
I think it'd be cool. I mean that whole. I mean, I'm fascinated by electricity. But, I love the idea. You're saying, an upper playfield that is a circular system where balls can be trapped, then be executed to collide for a chance to find the Higgs boson. or some fundamental particle. Yeah, I would love this kind of stuff.
I don't know if there are enough, science lovers out there in pinball. People like Star Trek and sci-fi, but I'm not sure if people like the study of science.
No, I know what you mean. But if you could make it that it was some electrical masterpiece where it just visually looked amazing with, particles or electrolysis, which is what I said last week.
Yes.
Imagine
the custom instruction card that American Pinball could make up for you with the Hadron Collider.
Oh no, I'm just like geeking out on this email. He's talking about proton synchrotron, super proton synchrotron, and finally the Large Hadron Collider. There's terminology in the accelerator field that we'd fun to use too, like proton bunches, femtobarns, superconductivity, ramp up, beam dump, heat load, beam dump, and
Christopher Frangimarti is having an absolute fit. He's triggered now. We are not talking. We've spent so much time not talking about pinball.
But this is a pinball idea. This is, I think.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Hey, Christopher Franchi, we should get him on the show, Marty. What do you think?
Yep, I think that's a great idea.
He did the Beatles art, right? We should talk to him about that.
Well, we should get him back. He did promise that when he released a new machine, he would come back on our show. So why not?
Cool.
Excellent.
All right. We'll see y'all next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Going straight to the Wild Wild West.